When Dave Baker went to the aid of Greg Hunchar, he too was electrocuted by the high-voltage power lines downed in the accident. Dave needed immediate medical attention, but the people who had come to his aid had no idea when or if the professional rescue workers would arrive.
Navy officer Harold Clark and his friends had overheard a call about an injury accident. As CPR instructor, Harold immediately focused his attention on David.
When I came up to him, he wasn't breathing, and you could smell the burnt flesh. And the way he was laying, he wouldn't have started breathing on his own. His airway had to have been cleared. I went in to open up his airway and gave him 2 breaths, and he started breathing.
I was so relieved when I heard that he was still breathing. I got a rush of fear and a rush of relief all in about the span of 2 minutes, and it was very frightening.
Somebody said, "We got to get this power turned off." I just took off to make the 911 call.
Kurtz would be the third call for help.
Okay, on Highway 50, mile marker 46, a power line was struck in this accident. And a man in the rescue attempt that we're trying to help these people accidentally stood up and hit his head on that thing, and he got a shock. I mean, it burnt him bad, and he's on the ground now.
Okay. They're on their way out there.
He is down, and he has a burn across the top of his head, 6 inches long.
Okay, thank you, sir, very much. They're on their way.
Okay, is the power going to be diffused?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much for calling.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Rescue truck requested. Highway 50, east to 25 east of Fallon. Reference electrical at an injury 1050. Electrical lines down. Search request.
Once he came to, he wanted to get away. We tried to just held him still, just keep him from hurting himself.
At that point, he did not look like a badly burned victim. He looked like he had a cut in the top of his head, and from when I got down to his feet, I noticed that his socks were burned to his leg.
35 Churchill. 949. Is that wire still hot? That's affirmative. 10-4, will you roll someone to clear that line, please?
An estimated 20,000 volts of electricity had passed down David's body.
He said he can't see. He said, "Help me, I can't see, I can't see." We said things like, "It's dark out here, David. That's why you can't see. It's dark out here. Just calm down." And he would say, "I can't stop. I can't stop. I'm going to crash." I believe he thought he was still in the car.
The Nevada Highway Patrol arrived. The first official on the scene was Trooper Dan Luke.
How you doing here?
I heard the man screaming. He couldn't see, and he was delirious. They couldn't make him understand anything. I was worried that he was going to die at that time. I'd never seen anybody like him before.
From the nearest town of Fallon, Sheriff Bill Lowry headed to the scene.
I cautioned the units while they were en route to be careful of electricity. I got a call from dispatch that had talked to a local electrician who had monitored on a scanner, and he said, "Be careful, because that electricity can jump about 3 feet out of that high voltage wires."
Barbara Frank and her partner were the first paramedics to arrive.
They're right here. They're coming. Hear them? Calm down. Real close. Just relax. Just relax. Partner, just relax. Right?
As triage officer, Barbara took charge of the medical treatment at the scene.
The first rule of triage is to always secure your scene for you and your personnel. And it wasn't a safe scene. We had a high tension line down that we had to cross back and forth under. That's not a good idea in any situation, but there's no way to stabilize that line, and there was no other way to do it. You can't stand there with 3 hurt people looking at you, screaming for you to do something, and say, "I'm not crossing underneath that line," until the line is no longer hot.
Okay, what's our clearance on these wires?
About 18 inches.
What? 18 wires.
It had been a half an hour since David was electrocuted.
I was crying. I remember crying, but it was so dry and windy out there that no tears would come.
Just relax.
You know, that electricity has gone from this man's brain all the way out his feet. It can do a lot of internal damage, both neurologically, structurally, to the bones, to the tissue. You don't know how much it cooked in between those 2 points of when it entrance and exited.
The downed lines were within a few feet of the ground.
When you got too close to the tension line, you could feel it. After I crossed into that line a few times, I didn't want to go back and forth anymore after that. Once it dawned on me that what I was feeling and that humming that I was hearing in the air wasn't just in my mind. It was real. Anyone could have been killed. Myself, my partner, any of the bystanders that we allowed onto the scene. Anyone that got too near that line.
The downed power lines were still hot, carrying 34,500 volts of electricity when Sheriff Lowry got to the scene. They continued to work under the lines until all the victims were stabilized and could be moved.
For some reason, the electricity didn't interfere with the electrical impulses that go through the heart. Our main concern was he going to go into cardiac arrest again? Was he going to have a seizure from this?
Rescue workers and volunteers broke with normal procedure and common sense to risk their lives for Greg and David.
Just about the time we started loading, he went into a real flashback type thing. He kept screaming, somebody grab the wheel, somebody grab the wheel, we're going to wreck. God, please help me, somebody help me.
It's a spooky thing to watch something like that happen, to not know if they're alive or dead. I honestly thought Dave Baker was dead until the ambulance got there. It could have been one of us very easily.
This call really showed what volunteering was all about, both volunteering from the bystanders' point of views and just about what teamwork all together was about. And it was a call everyone should be proud of, including those people who stopped and rendered aid.
2 months later, David Baker is undergoing intensive physical therapy.
The whole body works off electricity, and because of it being short-circuited, basically, it's been disconnected. Your muscles and everything have to learn where they belong and how to react. It's like a baby learning to roll over, how to move, if you want the arm to go up, what you have to do to make it go up. And it's really painful at first and hard. I like just roll over would cause me to break out into a sweat.
I've been in the hospital for quite a while, probably about 6 months or so. Soon he should, in a week, 2 or 3 weeks, he may be able to walk on crutches. I don't know. But I just asked that he would help my dad get better as soon as possible and that he might not die.
Mentally, he's great. Physically, we don't know how much nervous system damage there is. I never would ever think that this would happen to me or my family. It's been sort of unreal. You feel like you're just going through the motions, you know, it's not really happening to you. You just don't want to really think that it's happening to you. It's hard to describe.
Greg Hunshaw received skin grafts where he was burned by the electricity, but has otherwise recovered.
I was next to David for a few days, and him and I were together. And he was in definite pain, I was in definite pain. We didn't talk to each other much. I think everybody that helped, you know. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, but David especially, because he's going through what I'm going through. He feels what I feel.
David's doctors expect that he'll be able to lead a normal life, but he may never be the same as he was before risking his life to help a stranger. The man who gave David artificial respiration under the wires understands the choice he made.
I think he did what he thought he had to do. Each man feels different things inside. Some people say, well, it's their problem. Let them handle it. Some people don't feel that way. I would hope that if I'm ever in the predicament where I need help, somebody would come and help me.
To me, when I see somebody that's hurt and needs help, I just was raised that you just can't turn them down, really, no matter what the cost in a way. And even if it puts yourself in a little bit of a danger, that you've got to put forth the effort to save someone.
You're so long. Yeah, he really is. He really is.
Next,